What's up, YouTube? Christophernegroni is back, and today we're talking Pepsi. Well, not this Pepsi. This Pepsi. Pepsi, baby! You know, I actually prefer Diet Coke, but, you know, for the purposes of this video, I got a Pepsi. Diet Pepsi, but it's a Pepsi. Pepsi. Now, for the past couple of months, around the watch world, all the talk of the town is the Pepsi is getting discontinued. You know, those ceramic bezels, they're just too fragile, they're too hard to make, and Rolex is giving up on trying to create that perfect red and blue bezel. Personally, I think this is a little overblown. Why would Rolex get rid of one of their most popular, their most in-demand watches in their lineup? I mean, it's a perfect narrative to push by the gray market to keep those prices high. Every year, there'll be that hot piece that is rumored to be discontinued by Rolex. And right before Watches and Wonders, that watch will shoot up in prices on the secondary market. And most of the time, that watch will remain in the catalog for years. We can look at examples like the Milgauss. For the last 3-4 years, people said, it's gonna get discontinued, it's time for it to go. And yeah, eventually it got discontinued, but it wasn't the first year that it was said. It wasn't the second or the third, you know, it took a long time. Same with the John Mayer. The rumors every year, John Mayer is getting discontinued. And the same thing is happening this year with the Pepsi. And I'm honestly indifferent about these rumors. I mean, obviously, I'm biased as I already have a Pepsi. And maybe I'd feel a lot different about these rumors. Maybe I'd feel a sense of panic right now had I not had Pepsi. So that's always a tough position to be in every year before Watches and Wonders, when you know you really want to watch and you're not sure. It could be on the chopping block, but you know what I'd say to that is any Rolex is on the chopping block. Every year, any Rolex is on the chopping block, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Which brings me to the subject of this video. After 2 years, do I still love this watch? Do I still wear this watch? Is it time to sell? Is it time to sell my beloved Pepsi? How has this fragile bezel held up? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it's been like to own and wear the Rolex GMT-Master II PEPSI for 2 years. Buying and wearing a Rolex has always gone beyond the watch itself. Like the brand's ethos, it's all about the storytelling, and it's echoed by every person's unique story. Those who decide to put a Rolex on their wrist. There's the stories of scuba exploring and the individuals who dare to go deeper, to the charismatic personalities living life pedal to the metal, second by second, captivating the hearts and minds of those who refuse to settle for anything less than greatness. The only watch for such standouts were Rolex. One of those genius marketing stories told by Rolex was that of the fast-paced, jet-setting superstars of the world, the real-life rock stars in control of aviation, the pilots that traveled the globe, and how they told time. It told a romantic story of travel and mystery. There's a certain mystique to a person tracking multiple time zones. Where are you going? Who are you? The GMT-Master II was a watch that allowed your heart and mind to be in multiple places. You could be anyone you imagined yourself to be. It was always a romantic watch for me, one that I obsessed about for years. Now, I did tell that story of obsession in my 6-month review. I'll go ahead and link it above if you were curious and you wanted to check out how things may or may not have changed through the years from that 6-month review to 2 years. Basically, I wanted this watch at a time in my life when getting any Rolex was out of reach for me. But I never stopped wanting this watch. And in many ways, that same drive, that same persistence that helped me to change my circumstance to allow me to buy a Rolex, it's the same persistence that I would later use to get one at retail, to get this Pepsi at retail 2 days before I turned 30. That's the basic story. And now 2 years later, the watch is still just as impossible to get, if not more today, because of the rumors of discontinuation. And no, I'm not selling the Pepsi. Not that I haven't had that fleeting thought. I mean, come on. I'm human, okay? I see the prices. And, really, smart Chris would go ahead and move on from this piece. If I was a smarter Chris, I would take this watch, sell it, and buy something else that I would love and enjoy for a couple of years. Take the other half and, let it compound in the market. Let it make me money. But I'll be honest, I'm not that smart, okay? I'm not that smart. That would go against my very nature as a watch collector, as a watch enthusiast. I'm an emotional person, sentimental to a fault. And this watch meant a lot to me when I got it, and unfortunately, or fortunately, that bond has only grown stronger. This watch has been there with me from the very beginning. It's actually helped me create some of my favorite videos on this channel. The GMT was my very first real taste of unobtanium. Now, I don't wear it every day. It has been relegated to weekends, but more importantly, it's become my dedicated travel companion. Often the Pepsi will be my only watch I'll take with me on a trip. It's not that I couldn't take my Daytona or Submariner in this place and be just fine, but none of them give me the same feeling I get for travel as much as I do with the GMT. It's that charming vision of going on a trip, packing light, and spending time in a whole different country that I associate with this watch. On the Jubilee bracelet, it will always have that dressy appeal, and the thinner GMT case wears much smoother than a Submariner would. With 100 meters of water resistance, it's more than enough for any trip you'll encounter, and the GMT function is arguably the only usable function in the real world. I maintain the Pepsi may be one of the most versatile stainless steel watches in Rolex's lineup. Most people aren't using their dive bezels or unscrewing their pushers to time anything in the real world, but having your local and home time available to you at a glance is very useful and intuitive. To this day, the GMT rides the line of dress and tool the best. And hate it or love it, the red and blue is iconic in its own right. Many brands have tried to copy the color combination. We all know where they got it from. And don't ask me how or why it works, because red and blue in any context of fashion usually don't go well. But Rolex has managed to transcend even that rule. I think the key to wearing this color combination with any outfit is to not try and match the colors with any outfit. Personally, I think it's pretty silly when a guy tries to match their watch with their shirt or their shoes. Like I have a blue shirt with my blue watch. I think it's a little silly. It's kind of a basic level of coordination. It's not very creative. If you look at any cool character throughout history that's worn the Pepsi, they just wear the damn watch. They just wear the damn watch and it goes with anything they're wearing. It's more about matching the vibe of the watch than the actual colors of the watch with your outfit. You gotta match the vibes of your outfit to the watch. The colors, they simply say, I don't take myself very seriously. And I like that character of the Pepsi. I hear that argument a lot whenever the Pepsi's brought up in the watch world. I hear that the red and blue, they don't go with any outfit that I'm gonna wear. They're completely missing the point of the watch. That's not what the red and blue is for. It is not to match. It's just a fun splashes of color. Don't take yourself too seriously. That's what the watch says. And mostly those complaints come from people who don't even have the watch. There, I said it. Most of the time, people who complain about the Pepsi are the ones who don't have the Pepsi. But let's get back to the review. Going back to my 6-month review, I talked about one thing that I wanted to do was engrave the back of the watch. And I really wanted to think about it. I took my time. Obviously, I took a lot of time, almost 2 years. I got it engraved last year. And actually, the idea spawned from a viewer of the channel who suggested that I engrave the number of days elapsed, my 30 years in days. Again, I got it for my 30th birthday. And I thought that was pretty neat. It was a pretty good idea, but I wanted to take it one step further. So I thought about it. What's more watch nerdy than days? The most watch nerdy thing is seconds. So I got the number of seconds in my 30 years because, every 30 years, every person who's lived 30 years on this planet is unique. It's a unique number of seconds. It ends up looking like an indiscriminate number, some kind of serial number, and without explanation, it means nothing to everyone else. But it means the world to me, and hopefully my kids one day when they get this watch. So that's what I got engraved. I think it's cool. I think it's kind of simple, no fuss, but still very unique to me. But now I have to decide what to engrave on the back of my Daytona. So I don't know. That might take another 2 years to decide. It's hard to commit to these things. If you have any ideas, go ahead and throw them in the comments. Now the watch itself, it's held up really nicely. It still looks amazing. As far as bracelets, the Jubilee is by far the most comfortable Rolex bracelet. It also hides scratches the best because it's made of smaller links, smaller surface area to scratch. The clasp is getting that life on it, those hairline scratches. But when I look at it, I'm not mad at it at all. In fact, when I look at those scratches, those light scratches, it makes me smile. When I see it, it doesn't make me mad like the very first scratch that I got on this watch. Now I just look at it and it reminds me of, all the times I wore this watch. It reminds me that I have kids, that I have dogs. The ceramic bezel is in pristine condition as I expected. No fade, the perfect saturation of red and blue as I have what is commonly known as the Mark III bezel. The movement is running perfectly within Rolex's superlative chronometer standard. It's very difficult to say anything bad about this watch. I love my Daytona, but even this watch is more comfortable than the Daytona. And probably because the Jubilee bracelet, it's thinner than any sub. So it's actually my best fitting watch. Again, probably because those links are smaller and you just get a better fit with the Jubilee. What can I say bad about this watch? I don't know. I guess I could say the worst thing about the GMT as a whole is probably the hype surrounding it. It's the same fatal downside that a lot of the hottest, most desirable watches in Rolex ultimately face. Something weird happens with those watches. It's almost as if the hype of the watch becomes so great, it gets to a point where people hate the watch, or somehow they're no longer a great watch. The Daytona, the GMT line, they're popular for a reason. They're just that good of a watch. And when something is great, people are gonna notice, and inevitably you'll have followers who will piggyback on just the greatness of the watch. They'll love it because somebody else loves the watch. They won't know anything about the watch, but they'll want the watch. And that's just something inescapable in the watch community with anything that's great. With cars, with watches, with fashion, shoes, with anything that's great, you'll have people who catch on. They love it because they know why it's great. And then you'll have people who love it because that person loves it. I don't know. It's a weird phenomenon. It's still a great watch. I just think it's perfect. And whenever I feel that urge to even think about selling it, I put it away for a week or two and break it out again, and I'm back to my honeymoon phase. A little fun fact, when I was on the hunt for this watch, I wore this hat in every time I went to my AD. Every time I visited, I was asking for the watch, but I would wear this hat. Initially, I had the idea that, this could be like some kind of a subliminal message. I'll wear the hat. They won't even know what they're seeing, or they won't say anything, and subliminally they'll associate me with the Pepsi, and eventually they'll say, I don't know why Chris needs to get a Pepsi, but he needs to get a Pepsi. But what's funny is they spotted it within minutes. I didn't even think about that. Of course they're gonna spot it. And, you know, they thought it was funny. So I just kept wearing it in. It just became my thing. And I actually liked the hat, so I kept it. Now, of course, this wasn't the only thing that got me the watch. You know, I was pleasant and nice, and I bought other things, and I waited my turn. But it was a way of keeping the hunt and the wait fun and light. It's something that I think we should all be reminded of. Yeah, I never told anybody that because I didn't want people copying me. You know, I feel for the essays and you know, all the salespeople out there who have to deal with all the little tricks. People go in there with lines, you know, that they've read off of a forum, and I didn't want people going in there wearing Pepsi hats. That was my thing, so I kept it to myself. And even now, I'm saying this towards the end of the video. You know, I'm divulging this information because I know most people have already clicked off this video, or, you know, skipping. I know you guys skip. I do it too. It's all right, but that's why you miss out on information like this. You know, the goods, the insider information, how to get a Pepsi. Watch the whole video. Man, what if Rolex comes out with a Coke? Fuck, it never ends. It never ends. Well, there she is, my Pepsi. She's safe and sound. I still wear it. I still love it, and I'm looking forward to doing you know, another review next year, and 5 years from now, and 10-year review. Yeah, hopefully she's still with me. Hopefully she doesn't get stolen. I shouldn't put that out to the universe. Knock on wood. Come and get it, bitches. Hope you guys liked this video. Hope it helped somebody out there. It was entertaining at least. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the video. Sub to my channel. You know, go ahead and sub. As much as I say I don't care, I care. I fucking care about the subs. I love you guys. If you got a Pepsi out there, don't sell it, all right? Don't sell it. You might regret it in the next few weeks. And even if you don't regret it, you'll have it again for next year when they have the rumors again that it'll get discontinued. If it doesn't get discontinued this year, it'll get discontinued next year or the next year. Don't sell your Pepsi. Keep it. Leave me a comment if you got a Pepsi. Thanks for watching. Negroni out.